And welcome back, everyone, to the Quirk Creation series. With the rolling out end of My Hero Academia, my thought process is I might give a rest to this series for a little bit. Not to say I won't go back to it, but I've come to the realization that I had probably been doing a little too much on the channel and to keep it completely fresh. So what I'm thinking is once the final chapters of My Hero are rolled out and done, I might give this a break for a couple of months, just to what's the best way to put it? Just to lighten the load, make it put a little less pressure on myself. Rona Azora from One Piece is part of the personal collection. There was no, at least I believe he was. Either way, uh, we're doing Zoro from One Piece. One Piece characters can be particularly tricky because unless they have a devil fruit, I trying to figure out what a quirk could be for them is difficult because hockey is something that almost everyone can use on some level. Some more efficiently than others, and they're one or all three. So I can't just keep giving people hockey for an ability for a quirk. So I still have to look at what's tailored specifically to them. With Zoro, he doesn't have a devil fruit, at least not yet. We'll see if that eventually happens. But we know that he is a master swordsman and the master of his own particular style, the sword style. So I had to think what could be a particularly cool ability for someone like him. And I thought of this. So the idea, first of all, what was his hero name? That's actually a good question. What would Zoro's hero name be? Because Zoro itself is kind of a hero name. Zoro is a character from fiction prior to Zoro existing in One Piece. Um, I don't know, maybe Trident Blade or because something to do with his three swords. I imagine that would be his hero name. But more to the point, what would his quirk be? His quirk, Infinite Blade. What does Infinite Blade do? Well, he's a guy who wields swords generally, and his swords are very powerful. But his ability would essentially allow him to form a blade on anything he touches and basically convert it not into a true sword per se. It wouldn't take the shape of one of his katanas per se, but it would gain an edge similar to a katana and gain a rough form to a katana. For example, if you picked up a shovel, it would turn into a katana, a rough form of a katana, but a katana with an edge. It would still, however, be made of either plastic, wood, or whatever metal it's made of, but it would still have that edge of a sword. Same with if he touched the branch of a tree, or if he grabbed a boulder, if he grabbed like a cement block, and the block suddenly changed form enough to resemble a sword with an edge. This means that in essence, Zoro is never without a blade. And for a guy who, um, and for a guy who uses multiple blades at once, uh, he's it would be a very invaluable technique to him. Now, the full capability of this quirk, the awakened version of this quirk, I do believe would be more or less converting it to a full-on shape of a katana, like a full-on shape of one of his swords. But uh, with maybe strengthening it, like and reinforcing it with maybe his life force or energy or something like that. Now, the catch 22 is he can't just touch the road and turn the entire road into a giant sword. He would maybe be able to take a chunk of the road out of the ground and turn it into a sword. But he can't turn everything into a blade. He can't turn, for example, something without form into a blade. He can't, like, for instance, to touch water or fire or physical form, I think is a better way to put it. Like, he can't hold water in his hand. Hypothetically, he could mold it into the shape of a sword, but he can't use it as a blade, at least not in the same sense he'd use a standard sword as. He couldn't touch fire. He can't touch wind. Something like snow, technically he could do it, but it would just crumble. It wouldn't be any use for him. So things without form or mass, or things that can't keep a stable mass or structure, are no good to him with this quirk. Likewise, if he can't use his hands, that's problematic. If his hands are tied up and he can't touch anything, he can't use his quirk. So I think it's a good balancing act for this type of quirk. Plus, in terms of any physical strain it might put on him, like I said, in terms of reinforcing his physical for the blade's strength, you could say it like maybe runs down his metabolism a little bit, or you could say maybe he drinks a lot of milk. It's like maybe it's actually running down his calcium, so his bones start to become a lot more brittle. So maybe a weird side effect of his quirk is he retains more calcium for denser bones for stronger strikes and hits. I don't know. I'm just thinking out of the box now. Anyway, though, what do you think? Do you like this quirk, or do you think there are better ideas for quirks for him? Until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.